Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, featuring today's top directors sharing behind-the-scenes stories of their latest films and insights into the craft of directing. Please take a second to subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. This episode takes us behind the scenes of director Martin Scorsese's new gangster drama, The Irishman. The film follows Frank Sheeran, a retired World War II veteran and former mob hitman, as he reflects on the moments that defined his career as a figure in organized crime, especially his role in the 1975 disappearance and murder of Teamsters President Jimmy Hoffa. In addition to The Irishman, Mr. Scorsese's credits include the DGA Award-nominated features Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, The Aviator, and The Wolf of Wall Street. The DGA Award-nominated documentary George Harrison, Living in the Material World. The DGA Award-winning pilot episode of the dramatic series Boardwalk Empire. And the DGA and Academy Award-winning feature The Departed. He was presented with the Filmmaker Award at the inaugural DGA Honors Gala in 1999 and was honored with the DGA Lifetime Achievement Award in Feature Film in 2003. Following a recent screening of the film at the DGA Theater in New York, Mr. Scorsese spoke with director Spike Lee about filming The Irishman. Listen on for their spoiler-filled conversation.
Hey, thank you, Spike. Thank you for doing this. Oh, they didn't.
Can we give it up again for Ms. Scorsese, please? Come on, New York. This ain't Philly, this is New York.
Rest. Oh, they didn't open the.
Do you all know that you're in the presence of a cinematic giant? Do you know that? Do you, as we say in Brooklyn, do you recognize? This is a true giant, and I'm honored and humbled to be here with you tonight. I was fortunate enough to be at the world premiere.
Yes.
The opening night, New York Film Festival.
Oh, the New York Festival. Yeah.
For this film.
Yeah.
The opus.
Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we finished it.
I have a couple questions before we go to the audience.
Yeah.
Do you and Bob hang out, or you only see him when you guys are working?
Well, that's a good question. It feels like when they were asking Bob, what's it like on the set and the whole, he said, well, basically it's like it always was. And it's just a very, how should I put it? It's kind of a, when you say family, it's one thing, you know, he was very close to my parents, so was Joe Pesci, so was Harvey Keitel, everybody. So when we were making those films in the 70s, like Mean Streets and Taxi Driver, and then Goodfellas later, you know, in a sense, we were making films with our friends. And that's why mother and father in them, it's all like part of a group. And so that I was very, very beyond fortunate for that to have remained over the years. You know, we tried to get to do a picture since, you know, we hadn't done a film, De Niro and I, since Casino, which was 1995. And like we kept saying and trying, we wanted to do a film about our version of Hollywood and what we had gone through in Hollywood, but we were too close to it, couldn't do it. That was in the 80s. And then into the 90s, wound up doing Casino and that sort of thing. Then we would keep checking in with each other. And that's what you call by hanging out. He actually would have me have lunch.
Or dinner or lunch?
Lunch he had me have. We make movies, we don't have lunch. You know what I'm saying? So, no, seriously, like get up, you kind of have a late coffee, whatever. I don't mean to be, but it's like you don't, we used to, but that stopped because we don't have the time. And but he would take me, and we'd go in these different restaurants all through the city and talk about different ideas and that sort of thing. And we really try a lot, worked with a lot of writers. But finally, over since I think 2000, 2002, his projects couldn't kind of get excited about what he was excited about, vice versa. Until,
Timing is everything.
time is everything. As Bo Dietl says, time is essence. It's of essence. So in the film. But what eventually happened was that we decided to try to go ahead, just make a film. And we got this project called The Winter of Frankie Machine, which was a great title, but it had elements of like a genre. And I couldn't bring it together. I couldn't get what we do and a genre, the demands of the genre, especially in 2003 when things were changing in Hollywood. And so he was about to do Good Shepherd. Eric Roth, who was writing Good Shepherd, gave him this book, I Heard You Paint Houses, as research. And then Bob came to see me upstairs, and he said, I got this book, and I read it just for research. And he talked about this character, Frank Sheeran, and he became rather emotional. Just two of us in the room. And not having read the book, and not necessarily wanting to go back into that world in a way and feel, but I saw that something was so powerful in him, the way he felt about Jake LaMotta, let's say, that he couldn't articulate. He just became rather emotional. And I said, that's what we got to tap into. And that's how we began. I got Steve's Alien on the script, and we started.
Last question before we go to the audience. From afar, I see Scorsese, you got your guy, De Niro. Sidley Lumet got Pacino.
Yeah.
Francis has Brando. What took so long? I mean,
with Al?
I mean, just the whole, it's like, I see like three silos, and this is my guy, and this is my guy.
I don't know. It just developed that way. I could tell you, one of the things, if you say it's my guy, there was trust. There was trust, particularly when you're making pictures and you're first, even though you do Mean Streets and even Taxi Driver, still there's a situation where, the financing is the studios. Quite honestly, they could take the film away from you. And often it was look, let's face it, I was very lucky with Bob. He was a major box office star, as a great actor and a star. So we got a lot of pictures made that normally wouldn't get made. But the main thing was that Bob wouldn't take the film away from me. I knew that. Down to the last dead line. I knew it. I don't know what he could do. I don't know how he could fight them or whatever, but I knew he wouldn't do it. And
you would kill him.
Well, I have to be fast, I'm gonna tell you. But no, he wouldn't, because he knew that it was just they were taking the films away. I mean, everybody, De Palma, they tried to take George Lucas's THX away, all these things. So the main thing was fighting for control, and I felt comfortable with control with him. I met other actors whom I adored, but I never quite felt safe with them in a way. And in this case, too, Bob De Niro knew where I came from, Lower East Side, downtown. He was 16 years old, so was I. We kind of knew the same people that are in my films, in a sense, and we had that frame of reference. And so that's why I stayed. I tried working with Al. We were going to do Modigliani. In the late Modigliani, Amedeo Modigliani, and that never came off. I was not couldn't get the financing in the '80s of me and that stuff. And then he went with De Palma and Lumet, and so it's a whole other thing. And who's the other guy? Joe. But Joe Pesci. Well, Joe started though with So that was it. You prepared 2 questions. That's it.
They told me go to the. Well, I could be here all night.
I can't. No.
Who has an intelligent question? Also, no screenplays. We're not doing that tonight. No pitches.
No, yeah.
Not doing that. Yes, they're gonna bring you the. Now, hold on. You got to slow down because I have to repeat the questions for the podcast.
Which was harder to shape in the editing, you mean? I think Casino. Casino had a kind of, I wanted to jam it filled with Thelmas back there. We were laughing about it.
Thelma.
Yeah. We were. I kept pushing her to to make it tighter and tighter. I had it all designed, but there were certain elements of narrative, like semi-documentary narrative, that we kept shifting around in the 3 hour. I wanted it to be 3 hours, and we got it to that. But the thing about the film was that it was it's almost the faster it went, the more. I mean, it could go even faster in each cut. You see, pouring information on from, I think, at least, well, De Niro's voiceover and Joe Pesci, you know? And so even it got to the point where the voiceover on the soundtrack, Joe is contradicting Bob as if that's some other place. It isn't even the movie. So I was experimenting with a lot, and we had time to experiment on that. Well, not really. They gave us a date. Remember, we said, we can't make this date. So they called back with another date a week earlier. So that goes, you know. But it's true. Goodfellas was designed on the page. I had it. This is designed and known. This was it. There was no, it just felt, it played it. When I say something plays itself out, doesn't mean you don't work on it. It told me what to do, you know.
Yes. Was the car wash scene with De Niro in the script?
Yeah, it says he goes to a car wash and he washes the car, and that's it.
Next question.
You know, the ribbons and the slow motion, and suddenly he's out, he's looking at it, but wasn't he in the car? It doesn't matter.
Yes. Was Donald Trump thought about while you're shooting this?
Well, before we started shooting, it was what? 2016 when the election happened. When did we start? We shot at 2017. Yeah, 2017. I mean, it was there. It was prominent. But as it played out, there was resonance, there's no doubt, in those scenes. And I think you can see how pressure is applied, how things are said but not said. Yet, technically, you could say they didn't say this. You follow? Yeah. So, I mean, the tone of it was very much, when we were doing it, we were very aware of the nature of the world around us at that point. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Have you seen Mr. De Niro talk about Agent Orange?
Agent Orange?
The president.
Oh.
I don't call him by his name.
I don't go out. I'm home. I don't go out much.
He's had some choice words for him.
Yeah, I know. But
this a mother.
Yeah, no, but that's, you get that stuff going. What do you?
Yes, right here.
Yeah, the fish.
Was the fish the fish?
Well, the fish is actually from Charles Brandt, the book. He had that dialogue. They told him this is what happened in the car. The thing about the fish is that, what? They're talking about a fish? What's he doing? But if you watch it, first of all, Sally Bugs tries to get Frank to sit in the front. Why? You put a fish there to get me to sit in the front? That really is funny. No, I'm sitting there. Okay. Sally says, all right, sits in the front. And then Sally starts asking Jesse Plemons, what kind of fish? Because if you look at it closely, you know, if Chucky was supposed to pick up his dad and then go away and not know what was going on, that's what everybody says, what if they were late? What if Jimmy takes off and doesn't wait? What if then Sally Bugs has to go back and say, we missed him. You missed him, why? Because this kid, Chucky, picked up a fish. You believe that story? You believe he picked up a fish? He's dead. Sally is dead. You know? I mean, anything could happen in that car. Bullets could start flying any second. and even the kid, there's this Louis Cancelmi who plays Sally Bugs, who's just finished Coriolanus in Shakespeare in the Park, actually. He says, you know, I just want to make sure that somebody asks me, I know what you picked up about the fish. You know, because he's on the line. He's designed this, apparently.
Yes.
Oh, the two comedians
that you cast in the film.
Oh, Sebastian Maniscalco.
And Ray
Romano, I think of as an actor. I'm sorry, but I don't mean that comedian is. He's really good. And I don't know. I worked with Ray in Vinyl, And he came and he actually read for this again. And we thought
He
it
was not handed the part. Right?
No. He read for it again. And we thought, I believe, but Maniscalco read for it. And actually, he didn't read for it. I saw a tape of one of his stand-ups. And I saw he understood the Italian-American.
Up top, yes. You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The aging process. It's never been done before.
No, not like this. Not like this.
Not like this.
I mean, I can't really tell you how they did it. ILM, Pablo, Hellman, I mean, they're amazing. All I know is that by the time we got our schedules together and by the time somebody gave us the money to make the picture because we couldn't get the money, and this was before the CGI, you couldn't get this picture made in Hollywood. Didn't matter who was in it. Bob and me, they weren't interested in this kind of picture. And so Netflix stepped up at the point in which we knew then we needed CGI. Having waited, we waited almost 9 years, because we were doing other projects and things and other family issues. And so what happened was that then there was no way Bob and Al could play younger. No, we had a chance back in 2008. Seriously, you could do a makeup, you could do something. I could shoot a certain way, something. But this was this was out of the question. And so we really, out of desperation, asked.
Did it slow the shooting down?
And not really. I mean, there's a lot more crew because the camera has 3 lenses, and I was shooting a lot with 2 cameras. That's 6 lenses, sometimes 3 cameras for the improvs and stuff. So that's 9 lenses. That means more people on focus. That means no way I could get near the actors. I couldn't have, just a scrum of people, But in any event, I was shooting in Taiwan, opening sequence of Silence, and Pablo came to me and said, we could do this on CGI, because Irwin and me and Jane and Emma, we were all talking about possibly CGI. No, I don't know. They have to wear helmets and stuff. I don't that. And so I told Pablo, said, think about this, because I think we can do it. Each day it's getting better. And this was 2000, 15, I think. And I said, don't tell me. I said, you can't put tennis balls on their faces. These guys are not going to go.
They're not going for that.
It's not going for that. So that's it. I said, when you have something that you really think I can look at, come back. And he did. About 2 months later, he said, I think I figured a way for the markers. The markers, we couldn't even see them. And then we came back and Bob did a test. We reshot a scene from Goodfellas. And they put him in some sort of a cabinet with lights, and he was doing all kinds of facial expressions. Between those facial expressions that they mapped out, or what they for markers or whatever, plus pictures of him from the 70s that I chose, plus scenes from him in films of the 70s and that sort of thing, they created a test. And it was quite amazing. We played both scenes together, the original and the test. And we said, let's go with it. Of course, then the price for it was, the fee was, pretty big. And so that's when we really tried to get the financing for the picture, and that was the final blow. And that's when Netflix came in. Netflix came in, said they'd pay it, do it, and no interference. Amazing.
But can we just talk about one other thing? Because the face is a face, but the body and the stature in the years is different. So you had to talk back about that too.
Yeah,
right?
we had to. That was the thing that, and also the picture cuts back and forth for over 50 years. So you got it's an interesting thing. The shoulders, the shoes, movement, posture. Gary, this guy Gary was the posture stunt man, and he would take the guys and work them out, do exercises with them. With Al, the first day we were shooting with Al, he was in this chair and he's saying, "Look at those damn Kennedys." It was on the TV, and he gets up and he says, "I'm going to go to war with those people," whatever. And I thought it was great. He had 2 cameras on him. I thought we had all the markers, couldn't even see them, and I said, terrific, Al. It's the first time I'd ever worked with Al Pacino. I mean, but I liked what he did. I said, fine. So, okay, let's do one more take from over here. And we did another take, and he gets out of the chair again. And then Rodrigo comes up to me, my DP, And Pablo Hellman, CGI, came up and they said, he's supposed to be 49. I said, what do you mean? He's getting up. He's supposed to be 49. Doesn't look like 49. So I said, you tell him.
It's the first day. First day.
Thank you.
First day.
You understand?
First day.
Give me a break, okay? So they said, no, you have to tell him. I said, he seemed nice out, so I went up to him.
I've been in your shoes.
No, the guy's acting. He's trying to find character. Now you got to watch how you get up. So I said, all right. I said, Al, he said, how's it going? Was it okay? I said, yeah. I said, the only thing is, what? You have to be 49. He goes, oh, God. Oh, God. So we do one more take, and he gets up, and okay, what did you think? And Al says, 62. We can do it better. Okay, so we went by 5 takes. And that's the way it went, But, I mean, they had to, the posture and movement. Bob coming down the stairs, and when Bob was telling a story earlier about coming down the stairs, and he was coming down the stairs like an older person. So Gary said, you have to skip and hop. You have to be happy with those stairs, And he said, okay, and he got it. But then he looked at me about an hour ago. He said, then you cut it out. I said, sorry.
But Joe Pesci's amazing.
Yeah. You got to ask him more than once to do anything. He doesn't want to bother. He's an older person now. We're all older. What's in it for him? What?
What did he do for the many years he retired?
He plays golf. Imagine, a guy comes from Jersey, I think that's what it is. Yeah. No, but he plays golf. I don't know what he do. A Snickers commercial? I heard. Yeah. I don't know what the hell's going on, but he, no, we talked about it because, no, the gangster thing again, this and that. I said, no, this is different. You'll see it's different. And no, then Bob, I don't want to talk to Bob because Bob's going to say, you got to do it. That's his, explanation.
Is that his big brother?
Yeah, kind of. I don't want to talk to him. I said, he's just going to talk to you for a few minutes. No. And finally, it all came around, and especially when Netflix kicked in, because I think that made it very real, particularly because of this experiment with the CGI. And don't forget, the CGI on set is one thing, but Thelma and I and Pablo, over 6 months, looking at each shot. I mean, 2-3 times a week for us here. Them in San Francisco, we were on these systems, Skyping and everything with the projector here. And the interesting thing about the CGI is that there's a scene where Bob says, I'm bombing out a laundry service, and Harvey is just looking at him, and Joe is looking at him, and he knows he knows it's bad. He knows it's bad. So he has to watch how he looks at these guys, And so what happened is that one part of the scene, he says, I'll give the money back, and he says he's not going to need it. And so Bob, I think this is the area where it happens. Bob looks over at Joe, then he looks back at Harvey. And the take I chose, the older Bob, had a very nice vulnerability in his eyes and his face, right? We made him younger, and it became a threat. I said, he would never look like that now. Jesus, what makes him vulnerable as a younger person? Is it this here? Is it this? Is that? So they go in. No, I think it's the eye. No? Wait, over here? No. Yeah, because he turned his face and the light hit him this way. Now it all changes. Everything changes here. More texture here. But wait, if we put more texture, what have we taken? I mean, so you're combining the actual performance plus 2D plus what he did in tests.
But you still kept the same take, though?
Yeah. It's a different take, obviously, because you're playing with it. You follow? I was thinking this whole thing about CGI. We got to think about this. It's the evolution of makeup. We just got to think ahead now. This is where it's going to be.
Up top.
Oh well, that happened. I mean, that was a natural. That's what I try to do. Make it as natural as possible for camera angles. I knew that I was going to have. Joe and Bob up in that balcony. And I said, well, then when they look down, it's perfect because you're looking down on them, you see. And so that's what I mean about things played themselves out. And it seemed to play in, they appeared to be effortless when we were doing them. There's a lot of effort, obviously, 108 days. But it seemed to be natural in the flow of the shooting, you see. Well, no, not really.
The question is, did you screen any movies for the people working, your filmmakers working with you?
No, Rodrigo, no.
Do you usually screen films before?
Yeah, I screened a couple of things with Bob, but about 5-6 years earlier, the kind of picture I wanted to make. With Rodrigo, we decided that the time changes, the period sections, would be we go Kodachrome in the 50s and 60s, Ektachrome in the 70s, and then normal now. We figured that out, but bottom line was that at the tone of the movie, I wanted it had to be contemplative and it had to be an epic, but it had to be an intimate epic. And it had to be, well, I showed him actually, I showed a couple of Melville films, Jean-Pierre Melville. I showed Le Doulot, and I showed Le Deuxième Souffle, which with Jean-Paul Belmondo, both those pictures. It's a very different world, but I like the understatement of it. And then I showed a film called Touche pas au Grisby, which means don't touch my loot, which is a very famous early 50s French gangster film with Jean Gabin. And when I was shooting Bob in Casino, I felt he was taking on the stature of a late middle-aged Gabin. You know, in the early 50s, he looked a certain way, and he had a lot of power to him, but he had a serenity to him, too, and a coolness. And Bob, I felt, was getting that way in Casino. I said, but it'd be so nice. And Grisby has a kind of similar in the sense that they're older gangsters in Paris, and they get involved in stuff they don't want to get involved with. I mean, it's really the tone, but I like the Gabin feeling of his deportment, how he presented himself. In fact, we used some of the harmonica music from Grisby in the film. And then we actually, Robbie Robertson did the harmonica on based on the French noir music of the early 50s. Another one was like Rififi, Jules Dassin's Rififi. There was a period there where a lot of those films were coming over here.
In this film, we see Jimmy Hoffa incinerator.
Yeah.
I've always thought he was buried where the Giants play in New Jersey.
And on that, I believe that's been debunked a long time ago.
It was?
Yeah.
I missed that?
Yeah. You know.
Maybe
Who knows? I mean, Charles Brandt really, he knew Frank Sheeran. He interviewed him. He was hanging around with him, interviewed him over 20 years, on and off. What they said, it's in the book. I mean, the thing was, at first they say, a book about what happened to Jimmy Hoffa and intimations of conspiracy theories with the Kennedys. I said, no, you're going to get into that stuff. I said, it's all speculation. But what we found when Bob told me the story of that character and how I saw his reaction, I realized the speculation didn't mean anything. It meant, really, the story is about people who are living a tough life, love, trust, betrayal, remorse, regret. And
at the end,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
At the end, he's...
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. I
feel sorry for him. I mean, even as a killer, you feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that.
Yeah, but he was an executioner in a sense. I mean, I think of the Celine's book, Journey to the End of the Night. And I always talk about, there's a quote towards the end where the main character gets killed, but he's talking to his girlfriend. She said, "What's happened to you?" He said, "What's happened to me is a whole life has happened to me." And she shoots him. I mean, you got to read the book to get to that point. I don't want to spoil it for you. But when he says a whole life, when it hit me, and it's a tough book, it's ugly. And I said, oh man, he's right. I said, the whole life, something I can never explain to you. You had to live it with me, and you had to be me. And that's what we were trying to go for in the film.
Yes. Is there a scene that's your most satisfying scene in this film?
Well, I think the appreciation night sequence, you know, all that, the different speeches, when you see something like, those things are called, like a wedding is called, or an appreciation night, and that's really a time for everybody to gather and settle things. But you could tell sometimes something's going wrong in a conversation, and you could feel it. I said, I grew up around that kind of, I said, that's what we have to get. Particularly when Bob was watching Al and Joe speak in the back there, and he sees Al gesticulating and Joe just standing by himself. You don't leave the man standing by himself, not Buffalino. You don't leave him alone like that, But I think for me, I love the scene with, I like a lot of that scene, that sequence where Joe gives him the ring. He said, you know how strong I made you.
The ring?
Yeah, you know how strong I made you.
Only 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, on the cabs into the water once. And it was the
You
most.
only get one take.
You do one take. We were dying. We were so anxious, and it was freezing that night. It was over in Brooklyn.
What about-
Well, Red Hook. It was in Red Hook. Yeah.
What about WWII, the train on the
Oh,
bridge?
yeah.
That's one take too.
One take. That's it. And it hit, because I wanted the camera to boom down on it. But in booming down, you had to see the first cab hit the water. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. And they said, where do you want to cut it? Where do you want to cut? Do you want to say cut? No, keep going. Oh, my, no, keep going. And we did it. We got it. But it was probably about 10 degrees below zero that night. It was awful. Yeah.
There's a lot of theories about who killed Jimmy Hoffa. Who did it?
Well, I mean, again, as I said, when I took on the idea, when I took on the picture, I made it very clear to myself, everybody around, I don't really, I'm not interested. We know he's gone. How did he go? Meaning, what brought him to that point is more interesting to me. And it's really about the closeness, the friendship, the trust, and all that sort of thing. I think it was Janine Basinger the other day said, she said, I don't know what happened to Jimmy Hoffa, but after seeing this film, I now know what happened to him. Because you could see him bury himself. Bob, how many more times Bob got a
ego, though. Ego.
Yeah, the ego. I mean, it's the ancient Greek tragedy. It's the hubris. Bob tells him they're going to kill you. Basically, he's saying, "Don't tell me that."
They can't kill me. Yes. Did you have Pesci and Pacino in mind?
Yeah, I mean, Bob, when we talked about it, he said, Al could do Jimmy. He said, yeah, no, obviously, Joe's got to do Buffalino. Oh, Joe won't do it. He'll do it. I'll talk to him, So it became like that. It became a game that way. We actually had a reading of the script with Zalian and everybody, Paulie Herman, Bobby Cannavale, I think about 5 years ago. Maybe more, maybe 3 years before we started shooting, just to keep the interest up because we needed the money to get the film made. Nobody would give it to us.
Did every studio turn you down?
Yeah.
Had to go to Netflix.
Yeah, no, they and the trade-off is, it's amazing. What can I say? This film is made under those circumstances in these venues. It'll be in theaters, and then it streams. My next film may be different, but the point is that this one, we knew was the old story, now or never. We're looking at ourselves.
Last roundup?
Last roundup. I kept humming that. I'm headed for the last roundup, I mean, Bob, he's 76, 77 years old. We're looking at it, we've got to do this.
Yes, sir.
With Anna Paquin playing Peggy, we had to get it there.
The little girl was good.
The little girl, Lucy, yeah, she's terrific. And the thing about it was I kept asking Steve Zalian to see if we can layer her in the story. And I decided that she doesn't have to say anything. You see your father do something like that, I'm sorry. You see it crush the guy's hand like that. Other kids maybe, but this kid couldn't take it. And, she looks at him. She knows he's up to something. And Anna, ultimately, Lucy was great, but Anna was amazing in that the looks. She has one line in the film. Yeah, one line. It's there's something you can't talk about. She knows it. She knows who he is, And
he knows she knows.
He knows she knows. I mean, even when he's sitting there and they said the police are talking about Joey Gallo being a lone gunman walked in and you see she's looking at him.
That was you, Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
You asked a question. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think about the actual family members of the films you've done? do you think about them?
I think so. I mean, one has to understand that a lot of these stories, particularly this one, a lot is in the public domain, in a sense. And again, this is according to Charles Brandt and Frank Sheeran, that this is the way it happened. I prefer we deal with the heart of it, the heart of that world, and treat the people as you have to be careful. I think unnecessarily you don't want to cast aspersions on people who are not part of this. You follow the family stuff. So I'm always very careful with that as much as possible. It was hard in Casino. Casino, it was everything was out there in the papers. People knew all about it, and I was doing it, but it didn't go over too well.
When I did Summer of Sam, I heard from the parents of the victims.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's real life.
Yep.
Real life.
Yep.
Great question. How do you use your music in films? It's the best.
Well, in this case, in The Still of the Night, is the 5 Satins for Paris, right? The guy's named Paris. I just knew when as Steve was pulling the story together, I had other thoughts in mind, but then I knew it had to be in The Still of the Night because of those opening piano, bum, 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 and it moves through. The Still of the Night is a very moving piece. I grew up with it. It's a quintessential doo-wop of that time. And also it's The Still of the Night, the executioner. Death in The Still of the Night, And,
among other things.
Amongst other things, yes. Well, we're Catholic, it's a different... No, but seriously, Catholicism too. When I was growing up as an altar boy, that's all they talked about. The old Italian priest got in the pulpit, they talked about, like a thief in the night it will come. Be ready. And I was an altar boy at the Dead Masses every Saturday morning, 10:30. So death was very, very much the flowers and the funeral parlor, the wakes. So it was very much of being in downtown Elizabeth Street was very much like a little village. So there were several funeral parlors. Had 2 friends who died, one of cancer, another by an accident at the age of 18. So those funerals were devastating. The funerals were very much a part of our lives. So in The Still of the Night. That slow motion is a phantom. The camera is a phantom. And I've been obsessed with slow motion since since I first saw films. I guess for me, the slow motion dreams in Los Olvidados are something that stay with me along. And I love the way people's expressions change and the movement of the flesh on the arms and that sort of thing. And I decided it's a very, very high speed, this camera, Phantom. And I felt that it would be in only 2 places, the Joe Colombo shooting in Columbus Circle and the wedding itself, because the wedding is a funeral. It's a funeral, And the Colombo thing gave me a chance. I said, there's something about, people laugh, mob hits and that sort of thing, but the pain of it, the suffering of all the people around, you see all their faces, you see the family, the wife screaming, you see the hands grabbing the gun, and all of this. It's almost like biblical tableaus that I was going for. And I think that camera gave it to me, but one has to be quite sparing with it. And I like the trance-like effect, I
was thinking about, wasn't an assassination tax driver Columbus Circle too?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but ours was, later. Yeah, but it was written in the script as Columbus Circle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Last question. Yes. Hey, that's not going to be the last question.
Those glasses are based on the actual photograph Frank Sheeran of that time. Strange, interesting. You're right. We did get into all that. What's more contemporary, what's not, that was cleared. Yeah.
The climactic scene in the film, you made the choice to not have music.
Well, I actually made choices to take most of the music out anyway because of the methodic nature of who he is, Frank, and the fact that once he has to do this terrible thing, we want to see him go step by step with it. Take him all the way through the way he feels when he's doing it, It makes us, I think music, if it's not, one has to be so careful with film music that very often it tells you how to feel. Well, what if you just uncomfortably watching this guy? He takes his glasses off, gives it to Frank, gives it to Joe, gets in the plane. There's no music when the plane takes off. It's an air of finality, that we have to witness this, the way it happens, and then witness after, almost like there's a wonderful thing where the cleanup after the shower scene in Psycho. I mean, there's Bernard Herrmann music there, but there's something about when we first saw that film at the DeMille Theater on the first week on a midnight screening, everybody's screaming. The fact that we're back in there, he just killed the lead of the movie, and he's cleaning up. What are we watching all that? And the quotidian nature of it. And I thought the whole last hour of the picture should be that way. And that's why a lot of the music was pulled away.
I want to ask you one last question. So for Marty, how was the scene, that climactic scene where Al Pacino has to be shot by De Niro? Was there any? Was it any special? Was anything happening that day?
Yeah, that day was, that was. I had the idea to pull the wall out, and you see his body almost like a proscenium, like a piece of theater, and Bob pulls the body this way, and he puts the gun on him. First of all, he looks around, makes sure he's not going to get shot. Then he has to straighten his shirt out because he doesn't want to look as if he's running from the house, right? And then he just held on the body. And the whole crew, felt so bad for Al, for Jay, for Jimmy, for like his friend just did that and he just left him there. He just left him there. I mean,
what did Al say when he got up?
Al said, I'll do it again if you want. No, it's okay, Al. No, because he had to fall. It was a big,
Did De Niro hug him? Was there anything between the two? Do you remember?
You see, the thing there is that the way they're behaving in the car when he says, "You got your friend with you," with his gun, he says, "Yeah." I mean, that's the way they played off each other that way. They didn't go out of character.
So they didn't do nothing together during the
No,
show.
it was all very. He had to do it, and Al knew he had to go through with it. So, not much talking about it.
But you felt it, though, right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. If you'd like to hear more, you can find past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for more great Q&As with directors David Michaud and Robert Eggers. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow cinephiles find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.